Hey, greetings and salutations. How you doing today? Me? Could be worse. Could be better too, but that's besides the point. Today I'm going to be wrenching a little bit on old Greenie here. I should name it. It's only been 4 years. Man, it's time to name it. Let's call it Booger. Today I'm going to be working on old Booger. And I think the last video I made on Booger here was when I replaced the bushings, or the bushing and the tie rod end on the adjustable track bar to try to mitigate some of the death wobble that I've been getting. And well, that worked to a degree, and but I still kept hearing that creaking noise, when you turn the wheel back and forth. So I had Tanner come out here and help me one day to turn the steering wheel while I was underneath here looking at things, and I saw these two bolts here on this bracket were loose, and this was sliding back and forth ever so slightly. I don't know if you can even see that. You can freaking frame, you goof. These two bolts. So this track bar, this tie rod end here, and that rubber bushing down there were replaced about a month ago or so. Last weekend I took my youngest son, Hunter, out for his first one-on-one camping trip with me. And on our way back from, we were coming down the I-15 from Mountain Pass into Baker. And there's one culvert on the highway that you got to cross over, one of the washes there coming into Baker. I think it's the last one before you get into town there. Anyway, it's typically one of those expansion joints that induce death wobble in this rig, but just about every time we've crossed it, this thing has gone into death wobble. And I just passed a cement truck. I was going about 75, and I hit that. I saw the expansion joint coming, and I slowed down, and I even moved kind of off towards the shoulder to get away from what I thought was the worst of the bump, and I hit that thing, and it went into death wobble at 75 miles an hour. And it's pretty violent. So one of the things I am going to do today is I'm going to check the bolts here on the steering box, these bolts up here, and maybe inspect the subframe here to make sure that there's no crack. Martin from Martin Built Channel gave me a while back a stiffening plate, but I'm not really sure how that's supposed to go on. But what I did is I came in here and I inspected, when I got home, I inspected all these joints, these two ball joints here on either side that connect to the knuckles. And this thing here where the where it connects to the steering box and the okay, Rick, words, words, use them. The steering stabilizer and the drag link here. I went through and inspected all those parts, and I found a couple of that I think it was this tie rod end here on the driver's side showed a little bit of wear. So I am sick and tired of death wobble. I want to try to get rid of it in this episode. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to replace all these steering components, and including the steering stabilizer. And then I'm going to give this thing a driveway alignment. I'm going to make it a commitment. This is not happening anymore. I'm going to get rid of the death wobble. I'm going to replace all these steering components. I don't know if I'm going to get it done today, but I'm going to get it done. So that's what I'm working on today. So I need to start pulling cotter pins and knocking stuff apart, and then I'll get it up on the bench and take some measurements and replicate that with new parts. So the traditional tool for removing these tapered shank tie rod ends is a pickle fork. So once this bolt's tightened down, that taper shank, that tapered fit, gets really tight. And the tighter you make it, the tighter you tighten the bolt, the tighter that fit is, and after time, it becomes almost one with each other. And it takes either a shock load or a pickle fork to create enough pressure against that union to take the pieces apart. I don't know if that's making any sense. The problem with using the pickle fork is that it tears the hell out of this boot, this dust boot that holds the grease. And you have to buy a new one because it will tear it up. But usually, a lot of times, if you just wrap on that, it creates enough of a shock load to drive them apart. Now you just need to do that, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 more times. Yeah. Ooh, sorry. With the exception of this rod right here, all these parts are getting replaced today. These 2 tie rod ends, these 2 tie rod ends, and this steering stabilizer. And this was doing absolutely nothing, in my opinion. I don't even think there's any fluid left in this thing. It should be significantly harder to do. So this is completely garbage. Scrap pile. Now, there are a few things here that I'm going to reuse. Obviously this steering link with the clamps that hold the tie rod ends in, and this adjustment sleeve on the big end. If I lived in the Rust Belt, I'd probably want to replace this too. But I don't live in the Rust Belt. I live in the desert Southwest, so this isn't rusty at all. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a measurement from Grease Zerk to Grease Zerk. I'm going to write it down on this. I'm going to do the same thing here, measuring center of the tie rod end to the center of the tie rod end. I'm going to write that measurement down, and that should get me close to where I was before I took all this stuff off. Let me get some measurements. .36 and 15/16. Big. .42 1/8. Small. so this piece has a right and left hand thread on it, so you can't flip it around. So if you try to screw it on, it's not going on, stop. Turn it over, see if it goes on that way. All right. So, scrap pile. Don't forget to put the grease zerks on. See what I mean? It's got to come in a little bit yet. That's it right there. Now, I'm not going to tighten this down until it's back on the vehicle, so I'm pretty close. So I'll go ahead and set it off this side and start on the other one. It's got to come in 3/8. Two. That's pretty close. It's close enough to get me in the ballpark. Okay. Okay, lastly I gotta put this little piece of hardware on this end. It's getting dark outside, so I'm not gonna have time to finish this job tonight. So why don't we just pick this up in the morning? Sound good? All right, so it's not the next morning, it's the next afternoon, because I decided to sleep in till 11, which is something I haven't done in 10 years, and because I couldn't leave my youngest son alone, otherwise he'd tear the Christmas tree down. All my parts are ready to go back onto the Jeep. So I set you out here, we can put this thing back together. Take a couple of measurements and see how far off my alignment is. At least get a baseline anyway. See if it's pretty close. And then I gotta hurry because I gotta take Tanner to the skate park. He wants to go ride his skate shoes at the skate park. So we set you up down here, set up a time lapse. See if we can't knock this out in a couple minutes. What a goof. I got everything put up back together and I forgot to hit the record button on the time lapse. Anyway. I'm just tightening things down and making sure I get the cotter pins back in. I got one lug nut at each corner that's 13/16, and all the rest of them are 3/4. And guess what socket I can't find in either 1/2-inch drive or 3/8 drive? I'll give you 3 guesses and the first 2 don't count. 3/4 up the ass. Not a single 13/16. God, put your freaking tools away, idiot. So I'm gonna have to spend the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour looking for a socket. It'd take longer to find a 13/16 socket than it is gonna do this whole damn job. I guarantee it. Okay, so I found my 13/16 and I got the tires on. I got them torqued down and I adjusted the toe. So I'm gonna take Tanner to the skate park before it gets dark, but I wanted to quickly show you how I adjusted the toe. So I made a mark at the top of the tire with a Sharpie, just so that I knew I would know if the tire moved. And then I selected a point on the tread at the front of the tire and the same point of the tread at the back of the tire, and made a mark on this side and that side that I could pull a measurement from. And then I hooked the tape. Tanner helped me. He hooked the tape on that lug. I took a measurement on the other side to the same mark at the front and in the back, and I was out 1/4 inch on the front. So I had toe out, and I needed to have 0 toe or 1/16 of an inch toe in maximum. So all I did was I turned this steering link so that the ball joints sucked into the threads there, because one's right hand and one's left hand thread. You turn it one way, the tires will go in. You turn it the other way, the tires will go out. I turned that until I had the same measurement at the front as I did in the back, and that's the dirty way to set your toe. I tighten down those clamps, that one over there, that one over here. If I start driving and the steering wheel's a little off, like off center, I can come out here and turn this one, and that'll get my steering wheel centered up with the vehicle going straight down the road. And that's as simple as loosening these clamps and turning this one way or the other to get the desired effect. And if the whole front end is off one way or the other, then you got to take the track bar off and turn. If you got an adjustable track bar, turn that in or out. If you don't have an adjustable track bar, you're screwed. And that's the quick and dirty redneck way of doing the front end alignment on a Jeep Cherokee Sport. Now we're going to the skate park. Don't be scared. Lean forward. Well, good afternoon. It's the next day, and I just tightened up the center link. After I adjusted the toe last night, I just tightened that up, and I'm going to hold off tightening down the other locking collar, because I want to take it down the street and make sure my steering wheel's centered up. And once that's affirmed, then I'll tighten that. Right now I'm going to crawl underneath the truck and grease up all the new joints. On the old tire rod end, the grease circle was on the side. This one's at the back. So I wanted to cycle the steering back and forth to make sure that it wouldn't interfere with anything. And in turning all the way to the right, that grease circle just kisses this bracket a little bit. I probably won't, but if I do anything about it, I'll probably just come in here with my die grinder with a carbide burr and relief this bracket a little bit so that I don't knock that grease zerk off. Or I'll just run it, and when I knock the grease zerk off, I'll replace this one with one that has a grease zerk here on the side. Right now I got some greasing to do. It's a huge difference. I'd say that's pretty close to center. So I'll take it back home and tighten it down. And we can check that off the list. Possible causes of death wobble. Oh, that's nice. Nice and tight. Like a brand new car. I just need to get rid of that freaking exhaust rattle. Next, I guess. Alright fellas, that's the 30,000 foot view on how to replace steering components on a 1998 Jeep Cherokee Sport. Hope you found this video informative and entertaining. I got a mess to clean up and a bunch of tools to put away, so I'm going to end this video here. But first of all, I want to give RockAuto.com a huge shout out. They didn't sponsor this video. They didn't give me any of this stuff for free. I just find that Rock Auto seems to have the best prices on the internet that I can find. And to give you an idea, I replaced 4 tie rod ends, 2 inners and 2 outers. That one of those tie rod ends being that huge piece of cast iron that the steering stabilizer bolts to. A steering stabilizer and this gasket for less than $100. I think I paid around $90. Shipped directly to my door. In comparison, if I went down to one of the big box stores here, the AutoZones and stuff like that, I'd have got a part that was comparable to those, and probably I think the cheapest ball joint end that I found was $34. So times 4. Plus steering stabilizer for $75. The gasket's about the same price. So it would have cost me double to do this job if I'd have done it out of O'Reilly's or AutoZone. So huge shout out to Rock Auto. So if you're looking for parts for your car, check out RockAuto.com. I'm not getting paid to say that. I wish they would sponsor one of my videos. I got the parts here pretty quick, so thanks, Rock Auto. Also, if you'd like to support this channel, check the links in the description. I'll put some links to stuff to Amazon. I'm an Amazon affiliate. If you buy stuff through Amazon, I appreciate if you could go through one of those links out there. You can do all your shopping through those links down there. As a matter of fact, the channel gets earned a little bit of a commission. If you want to throw me a couple bucks for maintenance and repairs, there's PayPal. And if you want to support this channel for as little as $3 a month, there's Patreon. Thanks in advance, you can do that. And if you can't afford to do that, it probably means we're related. So until next time, you have fun, stay safe, shoot straight, keep your powder dry, have a splendid day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.